Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It is Mike's Talks and Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be doing another tier list for you guys, another characters tier list. I know you guys love these types of videos. They are probably the most popular ones on my channel. And for this one, I have really been watching Stranger Things again. This was a show that I saw back in 2020. I first saw it, and then in this year, I binge watched seasons 2 and 3. I know I was really late to the game on this show, but I absolutely loved it. And I wanted to make a characters tier list before season 4 came out. Season 4 has already been announced. It's coming in 2022. At the time of making this video, we don't know the exact date, but I'm very, very excited for it. And I thought that I would bring to you guys a Stranger Things characters tier list. So yeah, I went through a ton of tier lists to try and pick the best one. I felt like this was the best one. Not really unnecessary random characters, but enough that I liked it. So yeah, there's tons of them that you can find on the tier maker website. But yeah, before we get into this, there are two characters on here that I wish were here, and I'm just gonna rank them right now. So the Mind Flayer or the Demogorgon, whichever one you want to pick, I think that they are both S tier characters. I know they're not really a person, but I think it is a vital part of Stranger Things. So definitely wanted to include that, and then Dr. Brenner as well. I would probably have him in the B tier. I think he's a solid villain, and I definitely think we could see him again in the future. So yeah, let's get started with this. So first here we have the fan favorite Alexi, and this guy is absolutely awesome. I'm gonna put him in the A tier. I think this guy's really great. I love the scenes with him and Hopper, and Murray, of course. How Murray can speak Russian, so that's pretty much the only person he can really communicate with. And this guy is just so lovable. I mean, at best, a side character. He doesn't really have much other things going for him other than he's a side character. Um, he was someone working with the Russians. So yeah, A tier. Barb here, someone who is a very forgotten character and someone who really hasn't shown up since season 1. For me, I'm gonna put her in C tier. I know there's a lot of big Barb fans out there and a lot of people who wanted more justice for Barb. I thought she was okay. I never really liked her, never really hated her, so C tier for me. Next year we have Billy, and Billy was a complete asshole for sure in the first couple seasons, or for season 2, I should say. But this guy, he plays a great villain, I feel like, and just because of that, I'm gonna put him in the A tier. I love Billy's transformation, of course, and I just think he is a very solid villain for the story. Someone who kind of goes against the rest of the kids as kind of like a secondary villain behind the Mind Flayer and the Demogorgon. So I think he's a very, very solid character. So I'm going to put him in the A tier. Bob Newby. What a character, Bob Newby. Bob's pretty much a legend in the Stranger Things universe, but I'm going to put him in B tier. I think he's very solid. Um, Bob had some great scenes and was a great part of the story. But I just think he's kind of middle ground, maybe a little bit above that, so B tier. Next tier we have Dustin, and I'm going to say this right now. Of the guys in the group, Dustin is probably my favorite. Of the Mike, Will, Dustin, and Lucas, Dustin is probably my favorite. I love Dustin's interactions with Steve. Him and Steve are like the best duo in the whole series. Dustin is great. I think he adds a lot of comedy and he's great throughout the entire show. I feel like from season 1 to season 3, Dustin is really, really great. So I'm gonna put Dustin in S tier. And next tier we have probably my favorite character on the entire show, 11. I like 11 a lot. I mean, who doesn't like 11? 11 is such a badass character, and she is just so amazing. I really like her character development. I like where she started to where she is now and how She has these powers, and it's just great. Next here is Erika, and I'm really not a big fan of Erika, but I'm going to put her in the C tier. If we were talking uh, before the end of season 3, I would have definitely had her in D or F because I could not stand her early on, but she gotten better over time, so I'm going to put her in the C tier. Another character who got better over time was Jim Hopper. Hopper was probably my least favorite character of like the main cast originally, but as time went on, he really grew on me. And when I started watching and appreciating Stranger Things more, Hopper really was a great character for me. And I think for me, he's going in the A tier. Next year we have Jonathan Byers, and I like him a lot as a character. I actually think he's kind of getting worse and worse as time goes on, but I still like his character a lot. You still learn a lot of stuff about him, and I love his dynamic with Nancy, of course. So I'm gonna put him in A tier. Now Joyce here, Joyce for me is someone who can be really, really annoying at times, but she is a great actor. Winona Ryder does a great job as Joyce Byers. I'm going to put her in the B tier. I think she's kind of on that same tier with Bob as long as characters in the story. Now, this one's going to be controversial because I know a lot of people just from the episode are going to want to put Callie or 008 in D or F tier. But I'm actually a defender of that episode. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. While I don't think it is a great episode or even top 5 in the series, I definitely think that episode is way too hated on. And for me, I think Callie is a C tier. I think if we see more of her, we could definitely have her rise in these tiers going forward. But for now, from what we've seen, I think she's just a C tier character. Next here, we have our first F tier character in Lonnie. This is Jonathan and Will's dad. And this dude's just a complete scum. He's just an asshole. Like, he's so rude and just so not caring about his children, it feels like, and just kind of goes on his own. Real just piece of shit. So F tier. Next here is Lucas. Lucas has grown a lot since the start of the series, and I like Lucas a lot. I'm going to put Lucas in A tier. I think Lucas is really, really good. Not much to say about him that I haven't mentioned before. So yeah, next here we have Max, and this was a newer addition to the series. I like Max, but I think she's gonna go in the B tier. She's probably my least favorite of the main group of kids, but she is probably the best character in B tier. And yeah, I think that she has potential to grow even more. And when I make a video in the future, ranking Stranger Things characters either after season 4 or when the series is concluded, I definitely could see her moving up in the tier ranking. Next here we have Mike, probably one of the main characters of the show. I mean, when you think of Stranger Things, you think of Eleven, and Mike is like the head of the guy friend group. And I have Mike in A. I think Mike is really good. He definitely has his moments where he's really, really good and other moments where he can be really, really bad. But overall, as a character, I like Mike. I think he's a very solid character. Next here we have Mike's mom, and I think she's just going to go in C tier. I always thought the thing with her and Billy was very, very weird and very kind of forced. But I was glad that they kind of went off with that idea, or they kind of, dismantled it, because wasn't a big fan of that story. But other than that, I mean, she's a fine character. I mean, she's really oblivious to everything that's going on, but I just say pretty neutral character for me. Next, here we have Murray, and this guy, he had a huge part in the later seasons when I'm filming this video, and for me, I got to put him in the B tier. I love his interactions with Alexi and, of course, with Hopper and Joyce. He has, great interactions with them, and I love his kind of plan to help the kids in the final battle. And yeah, I just think he's a solid character. I would like to see more of him moving forward. Next here, Nancy, and I think Nancy is going to go in the A tier. I think she's very on par with Jonathan. I think that they play really well off of each other. And another character who I think has gotten a lot better over time. I liked her a lot more moving forward. And yeah, I think that pretty much her and Jonathan are about equal, so they are both on the A tier. Next here is Robin, and another one who can move up in the future. I like Robin, but we haven't seen her for that long, and for me, I'm going to put her in the B tier. I love her and Steve, just their interactions. Of course, Dustin and Steve, the dynamic duo that makes the show. But Robin and Steve also had some great stories, lines, Scoops Ahoy. And I love that kind of group, Dustin, Steve, Robin, and Erika. So yeah, B tier. Next here we have a character who is very overlooked in the series, and that's going to be Scott Clark. And I think this guy's a B tier character, but he could definitely move up in the future. This guy was such a help to the boys in Stranger Things, and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to science and kind of the supernatural. I believe this guy was the head of the AV club at the school they're at, and yeah, he was always a solid character, and I thought that he had some very crucial and important moments in the story. Next, here we have one of the best character transformations in the show, Steve Harrington. And Steve, for me, is going in S tier, along with Dustin. These two are just so great together, have a lot of great chemistry on the screen with scenes. And Steve, you look at his transformation from season 1 to now. Just a great transformation. They really did a lot with his character. They could have easily, at the end of season 1, just made this guy still appear as a douchebag and still really bad, and he could have easily been written out at the end of the season, but they decided to change it up a little bit and give him a lot more depth to his character and kind of give him a full 180 change, and he is awesome. S tier. Next here, another F tier character. This is Troy. This was one of the bullies who we see in the first season, and I just think that this guy is very annoying and very bad. Just a real ass. And I love when he gets put in his place. Is very awesome to see. So F tier for him. And Will here, the final character. I'm going to put Will in B tier, and I'm going to explain why. So, for me, Will, in the first season, we really don't see Will that much, of course. But in season 2 is where he really shines. His acting is incredible in season 2. He does a really great job with his acting and performance, and I would say it was probably a top 3 acting performance in the entire series, Will in season 2. But then Will in season 3 might just be the worst main character on the show. He became really annoying and very unuseful. It was like they didn't know what to do with him in season 3, it seemed like. So if we're talking Will season 1, I can't really judge because we really didn't see much of him. We're talking Will season 2, he's either S or A. But Will season 3 is like C or D, so I'm going to put him right in the middle at B. So yeah, this is the tier list here. Like I said before, the Mind Flayer would be in S tier, and Dr. Brenner would be in B tier. So to recap here, we have in S tier we have Dustin, 11, and Steve. A tier we have Alexi, Billy, Hopper, Jonathan, Lucas, Mike, and Nancy. In B tier we have Bob, Joyce, Max, Murray, Robin, Scott, and Will. C tier we have Barb, Erika, Callie, and Mike's mom. And in F tier we have Lonnie and Troy. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm going to be putting this tier list out We're through 3 seasons of Stranger Things. And for the next tier list of Stranger Things, I'm either going to be doing it after season 4 when we see how these characters kind of develop and change and adding any new characters that come along, or waiting until the end of the series and I will be posting my final thoughts on the characters. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this first part of Stranger Things characters tier list. Like I said, I'm going to leave this in the description below for you guys if you guys want to make your own. So yeah, peace out.